Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Brattlecast. We've got hundreds of episodes. You can go back in the archive and check them out. I'm Jordan Rich. We're always talking about something interesting related to the bookstore and the shop on West Street with the proprietor, Ken Gloss. Brattle Bookshop, famous in Boston and actually around the country and around the world. Good to see you, my friend, and there's always something exciting happening at the bookstore.
A lot of times I talk about a particular book that's come in or item. We get some requests that people might not realize or think about us for, but we recently got called from a photographer, and she said there was a couple getting married at City Hall in Boston, and she was wondering if they could come over afterwards and do their wedding pictures in the store or in our lot or whatever. You'd think, boy, that's an unusual request. You don't get it much. But what I thought I'd talk about today, it's actually happened. We've had many people call and request and sort of using the store as a background. Now, obviously, we had the movie, The Holdovers, which was a set. We recently had a number of advertising that they wanted to do at the set. There was some businesses opening in Boston, some other things. And so they've used the store as a background. But weddings, we said, sure, bring the people down. Now, the interesting thing about this couple was it was more the photographer's idea. So when we asked them what books they liked, what books they wanted when they were here, they were an outside lot. We had arranged for it being inside if the weather wasn't good. They said basically the book that they read and read faithfully is the Bible. But they didn't have a whole lot of interest in the other books. So we actually got a Bible and had that out for them. But we have actually had 3 weddings here. People have called us up and said, would you mind if we get married at your store? And, you know, the first time it happened, it was like, wow, that's unusual. Obviously, we're a small store. We're not, you can't have 100 people here. But they said, no, the first couple, they were from Scotland. They were visiting Boston. They decided, we'll get married. And they had some clothes. They called, we arranged, we set up a time. They did it while the store was open. So
that's interesting.
The man was wearing kilts. And they were just a wonderful couple. And we got a few pictures to keep for our scrapbooks. Now, I don't know what's happened in the future since they've got married. But we took pictures indoors, outdoors. We talked about books. We gave them some books. And we said, you're here, you're by yourself. They said, oh, yeah, but our families know we're going to do this. And we'll probably also get together with everybody there. But we wanted to do it in a bookstore setting. We saw you online and we said, so cool. Great. They said, great. And it was wonderful.
Obviously, bibliophiles, and there are millions of us, love the idea, but you said they got married in the store, in the shop, and that means you have to have some room for a justice of the peace or a clergy and a witness and whatever. You were able to accommodate them in that case.
They really were looking to do it in our outside lot, which people photograph all the time and like, and they brought their clergy person, and they had all the papers signed, and they had one friend as a witness. And quite honestly, they ended up getting a pretty good audience and people visiting, because people were watching them get married in the lot. And in the fact that they were dressed up very fancily, and he was in his kilts. And this whole thing just came off wonderfully. So, we said, gee, that was nice. No, we didn't charge them anything. We just thought the fact that they even wanted to get married at the store was great. Then about a year later, we got another couple, and they said, can we get married in your store? And again, we explained, yes, we're happy to do it. Outside is the best. We can do it inside. they said, well, would you mind if we take pictures in and out? And they actually had about 5 or 6 family members come down
Mm.
with them. They had a photographer. Actually, in both cases, they had photographers, and they said that that they, just liked the bookstore, and the family members. It was very small, and we said, "Gee, this is getting to be nice." About a year ago, we had a third person call up. Now, the really wonderful thing about this was her family was from Korea, his was from the United States, but she had this wedding dress that was like a butterfly. It was a real interesting and intriguing dress. The employees here were fascinated. We took bunches of pictures. They had one clergy person with them, and we said, we're thrilled that you're getting married here, but what about your families? And they said, well, we're from the Boston area now, where that's where we live. We had the dress. We thought it would make a wonderful setting for a wedding. And we already have a party planned in Korea. And they already had a party planned in the Southwest where he was from. But they said, these will just make such wonderful pictures. And, we're wondering, gee, should we go in the wedding venue business? And, what we really realized is if someone really feels enough about our shop to get married here, to ask if we can do it, and if we can accommodate a small group of people, it makes great memories for us.
Sure.
Now, not only have we had weddings, but we've had about 5 or 6 proposals.
I was going to ask you about that. So do you remember any of the details of any of them?
Oh, I remember. Well, one of the proposals I remember, we do a book show every year in Copley Square called the Boston Book Festival. It's mostly new books. It's mostly new authors. They get huge, huge crowds, but there are huge crowds of people who love books that come to Copley Square. So we always set up a booth where one, maybe 2 people with used or rare books. We get huge crowds. It's a fun thing to do. Fortunately, the weather has always been good. We've never had a rain out. But one time someone came and approached us and he said, my girlfriend and I, we both love books. I know she loves books. Do you think it would be possible if we if I gave a proposal? And of course, one of the first things I ask is she going to say yes?
Right.
Yeah. A little aside, I remember my wife and I were once at Fenway Park, and they would have people propose on the big screen and so on. And it's usually a joyous thing. And we remember once it was pretty obvious the woman was taken aback and ran off and was really upset.
Yeah, so much for the joy.
We do ask first, do you think she's going to say yes?
Yeah.
But what's happened in many of those cases is either the friend of the bride-to-be or a family member, sometimes a sister, will sort of bring her in. The groom-to-be maybe has already had the wedding ring that we maybe are holding. It's inside a book or inside a package inside the book.
Yes, it would be great if it was inside a book.
It's been really nice. They've all said yes. We've had 4 or 5 proposals. They've all said yes. We've tried to maybe give them a book that they can remember the store by. We get some pictures to go along that we can put in our scrapbooks. And we found this happening a little bit more and more. And, if it didn't get out of hand and there were small groups, if any of you out there, give us a call. If we can work it out, we will. The other thing that we've had is we've had a number of people do graduation pictures at the store.
Yes, that makes sense.
Actually, they like the literary setting. And one of the things that was really nice about it was my daughter lives in Kenya, in Nairobi. And one of the oldest now public libraries in the center of Nairobi. When we were there was a whole bunch of people getting their pictures taken. Now, it was at the end of a school year, and they said, oh, yes, it's a tradition in Kenya that a lot of the scholars, when they're getting married, to get, not getting married, getting graduating, that they want to be in a literary setting to take their graduation pictures. And I said, oh, that's really interesting. And then, of course, we get back from Kenya and we get some calls totally by coincidence. And again, if people like to do that, the fact that they think enough about our shop, our setting, that they want it in their memories actually gets in our memory. And it's an event that we love. Now, we don't know how the marriages have worked out. Nobody has gotten back to us on that. We're waiting, though. We would love to give a baby book to one or two of the couples. But, again, we're very, very fortunate that we have a bookstore that's been in my family for 75 years. You can trace the history back further than that. But the fact that people now more and more are enjoying the store, are coming in, are regulars, that they want to have an event like that, that's simple, easy, quick, that will be something that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, they can tell stories about. We just feel so honored that we can accommodate that. Now, if someone called and they wanted to do a wedding with 200 people and they wanted to have drinks and alcohol, well, maybe do the ceremony here and we'll arrange for a restaurant around the corner.
So I'm taking notes here. I'm writing down bar and bat mitzvah, christenings.
Well, absolutely.
Why not, right?
Why not? And we probably have books that will fit in and go with that. And it also, the people we work with and the staff here really enjoy it when you sort of break up their day and something different and unusual but happy happens.
Well, your store, your shop is, here comes the pun, novel in a lot of ways. And I think the setting, we've talked about it so often, then the lure and love of books, old and new, brings people together. And your stories are great. And you are making that offer right now on this podcast.
We would love it. Probably the only thing we'd ask now that this this first started happening a number of years ago, but probably now the one thing we would ask is, do you mind if we post some pictures on Instagram? It would probably be really nice for the people who follow our Instagram account. We haven't done that yet, but I would want to ask them first. If they said no, I'd probably still say, fine, get married here. But the more we could get it out there that people are doing this, why not?
Something tells me they'd be for it if they're willing to go to a public venue, which your shop is. Wow. Well, this is great. It's a feel good story, if I may say so myself. And
one of the things that I've really enjoyed about it all is, okay, we know this is going to happen. It's a nice day. All of a sudden, someone shows up in a wedding dress, maybe a suit. There's someone ministering the event. Now, my wife, by the way, is licensed to marry people. So we can even arrange that as long as we know ahead and they get the license. And she's done a wedding or two. But one of the things that I found fascinating about it was the people in the store or in the lot who don't realize that something like this is going to be happening and then starts happening. And what I want to do in the future, if other people come, is take pictures of the people in the lot and the expression on their faces. And they're looking and they're maybe having a stack of books in their hand that they're meaning to buy, and the way they stop and look and smile. And it's sort of a joy for them. And then the number of questions we go, are they really getting married? Is this a real wedding? Is this? And we say, yeah. And that part of it I find fascinating also.
For folks listening, they should know by now that this is a man, Ken Gloss, my very dear friend, who loves his work. He doesn't consider it work. It's not work when you can have so much fun doing what you do.
My wife, I've probably mentioned this on other times. My wife says now that I'm getting older, I only work half a day. And I said, yeah, I get to work at 5:30 in the morning. We close at 5:30. It's 12 hours. It's half a day. I get more exhausted if I come in at later time. And when we have something like a wedding going on or a graduation or people wanting to celebrate with pictures, that just gives you way more energy and it just keeps you going. And it's not at all difficult and it's fun.
That's what it's all about. The Brattlecast is also fun. Thank you for listening, dear friends. And Ken, thank you for sharing as always.
The joy of being here every day and having something new and unpredictable. And I just invite people, if you can think of things, if we can accommodate, let us know.